Welcome to Seven Trumpets Prepper Channel, and guys, welcome to another edition of the Hard Truth Show. I apologize, the banner was stuck up there for a second. This is going to be stream number 27. I've got Brother Akeen on tonight, and Brother Joel's going to be joining me, and we're going to be pretty much talking about the end game, how close we are to the new world order. I'm trying to span that out so that the algorithm can't keep up with me. If you also noticed in some of the spelling on this stuff, I put zeros instead of O's so that we don't get this content flagged out the gate. Just going to run down the usual agenda real quick. Happy Sabbath, everybody. Out here, we're doing this from Southern California in the middle of the Mojave Desert, and it is a real wasteland out here. I really miss Tennessee, I'm not going to lie. So with that said, content guests and content of guests and their views expressed do not necessarily reflect the views of this channel. Fair use, information, education, and edification purposes are the intents of everything we use on here as far as fair use goes. I want to send a shout out to the folks that support the channel. It is during Sabbath hours, so if you want to check out the links in the video description below, guys, it's still daylight hours out here, so we're not going to go through the affiliate shout out today, but we will do it on future streams. The last show that was done, the last couple shows, just a reminder, if you want to go in the playlist below and check out the streams, I just covered one about AI. We're going to touch on that just a little bit tonight. And the previous one before that, Elder Miller was on. He's actually going to be back, y'all willing, next month at some point on here to have a second discussion on a deeper level about the Father's calendar. We're going to deep dive on that because a lot of people really are interested on that topic. Also, the Battle Cry event that's coming up, I'll be speaking at this later next month. So if you want to go check out the information, the link is in the video description below. I'll be speaking, I think it's a 1-hour segment about preparing for the last days. So by all means, I encourage you to check that out. Also, before I get Brother Akeen on, the link, I'm going to be posting it up during the video. I'm also going to have it in the video description below after the stream, because I didn't get that done in time. That's my fault. Is that Unity and Survival Coalition. He's going to talk about that later in the stream, so make sure to stick around for that. Guys, I'm going to check out the comments in just a second. Just a heads up. My wife's t-shirt business, she will be rocking and rolling with that. The information will be in the video description below, probably next week on that. And guys, as always, before we get going, the last thing is make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because content like this is definitely being shadow banned out here in social media land. There ain't no doubt about it. I cannot tell you how many amazing content producers that I've looked at in this past week, that their metrics and their numbers to today compared to before, it is insane how much that they're being shadow banned on this platform. So it's not just me. I don't take offense to that, but I'm telling you, it's a serious thing out here. So make sure to post it on Facebook, Instagram, all these other places. Tell your friends about the content out here. And not only that, but the people we have on guests on the show, tell them about them too, because it's getting crazy out here in the social media world. If you have a guest that you would like to be brought on the stream, make sure to hit me up at seventrumpetsprepper@gmail.com or have them reach out to us. We'd love to chop it up. All right, so I'm going to check out a few comments real quick, and then we're going to bring some folks on. Shalom to everybody out there. Somebody said, too bad my internet is slow. Mine might be a little bit slow since we're streaming from the hotel. Good evening, everybody. When can I be a special? I want to come on. Complain for 45 minutes. Oh my gosh. Shalom. There's a lot of folks in the building this evening. Shalom to everybody. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring Akeen on first. Shalom, brother. Good evening.
Shalom.
Hey, I'm going to tell you what, I really enjoyed Unleavened Bread and getting to spend time with you and Joel together. That was a real good day. And everybody else too, man. That was a true blessing.
Yeah, it was
really
amazing.
enjoyed it. Real quickly, let me make sure I got this right for later. Actually, just let me do this rundown real quick. So, guys, if you haven't checked out Akeen's content on YouTube, right there's the link to Lyrical Entertainment. This is also the Facebook link. Now, I'm going to post these back up as we cycle through while the guys are having a discussion later, and I'm on the sidelines. I'm going to make sure to cycle this through. And then this is Unity and Survival Coalition at gmail.com. That's the email to reach out about that as well. All right. So I got a keynote. Now I'm going to bring Brother Joel on. Give me just a second here and do a little tech work. And oh, shoot, right there's Brother Joel. I didn't even have to do too much work. Let me spin this thing around a little bit. There we go, guys. All right. So the agenda tonight for everybody watching, I'm going to kind of take a sideline and just interject here a little along. And we got a bunch of points that's really like 9 core points. And I know the guys are going to put their thoughts in it. I really just want to take a step back and let them. I'm always talking on here, so I want everybody else's perspective. And I'm just going to kind of troll the comment section tonight. But I want to just point out a topic and let them free spin with this, because the New World Order has a checklist for those that are not in the know. They all the time tell us about it, from TED Talks to Georgia Guidestones to Kill Gates. We're going to talk in some context tonight that might seem a little odd. What's that other guy? Klaus Schwab. Yeah, we're going to just bring some of the information out that some of these people have. So with that said, I'm going to start running down the agenda here and then turn it loose to Joel and Akeem to walk everybody through it. First thing I want to throw at you guys, and you can tell everybody where you're at with it: food shortages, right? And all the food places burning down. I'm curious to see your all's thoughts on this. If you look, and I'm going to leave this one on the screen for everybody for a minute. The one that really stuck out to me on my notes especially was there was 2 plane crashes into food places. Now, I don't know about y'all, but like it's pretty rare for planes to fall out of the sky, let alone it falls on 2 food factories, right? Now, here is a larger layout print of that superimposed, and you can see one of them right there at the top where the airplane crash was. And on the other one, I'll flip these back up here in a minute, but I'll just want to turn it over to you and Joel. What's your thoughts on that? Like, is this being manufactured, or, I mean, is this just all this accidents?
I mean, statistics don't lie.
Right.
The statistical probability of a plane crash, let alone crashing specifically into a food plant,
and then happening twice.
Right. And then happening twice.
Yeah. What's the statistics on lightning hitting the same place twice? I mean, it's very rare, right?
Yeah. And that's more common than what we just saw on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lightning would have had to hit the top of the what's the Statue of Liberty in New York on a specific day at a specific time twice to even get close to that. Like, that's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah, and that was the conversation that I was having with Joel the other day, is that the one that bothers me the worst, brother, is that, you know, for a plane to crash, that's really bad. But for it to happen again and then happen in the same industrial sector on something that's that important, you know, like, and all these places keep burning down too. Like everything else, it's burning down. You know, it's like, that seems really planned out and coordinated. You know what I'm saying? And I, honestly, I'd like to read the insurance report on these places. Like, what caused that fire? I mean, did somebody set arson to it? Did a piece of equipment burn? You know, I worked in a factory space for, gosh, a decade, maybe almost 2 decades, but, you know, and stuff like that's very rare. You know, you just don't see it.
Yeah, let alone in the same, like you said, the same sector, the food storage facilities and manufacturing facilities all burning down like simultaneously in the same, you know.
Yeah, it's like a coordinated effort. Absolutely. All right. Well, next one I want to put up, friends, to tell me your thoughts on this one is nowadays, you know, whenever we hear people talk about church, you know, used to, as little as I would say 10 years ago, the church scene, you would actually think that, like, when it comes to religion, people were like really at the core root. They were trying to get something meaningful out of church, but church is more less turned into pretty much a circus act nowadays. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. I got to looking into this recently. And if you go all the way back, actually, I'm sorry, let me take the banner down because the banner is blocking the rest of that real quickly. Is that William Tyndale, when he translated the Greek word ecclesia as congregation, he only used the word church for heathen temples. I did not know that. And of course, the other thing is too, is that the particular things that were done in that scene all resort back to that one deity, Saturn, yet again. And I guess right here, I think I also shared the image on here for later. No, I didn't. They've got the One World Faith Center, Abrahamic Faith Center now in Abu Dhabi that's opening this year. And for the Abrahamic faiths, Islam, Judaism, Christianity, all this is going on. What's your thoughts on that with the New World Order? I mean, you guys tell me, where does this all play in at this point? Because I mean, the church scene's completely lost cause at this point.
It could have something to do with the Noahide laws. That's a big thing. I probably wouldn't want to get into it right at the moment, but what do you think, man?
If I could comment on I didn't know we were shifting to the next topic.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, no, we back up.
Comment on the food shortage. I saw a video a couple months back, and I think I shared it with our Facebook Messenger group with Joel. There was a farmer, and he shot the video from I think he's in one of those big, huge tractors. But he was saying that farmers are being paid by the government to destroy their own crops. And even more so, the government is telling them that they have to do it. And if they don't do it, then the government is going to come and destroy it anyway, and they won't get any compensation for it. So they're being strong-armed into destroying their own crops. They're calling it like a controlled distribution or something like that. I forget exactly the word he used in the video, but they're destroying their own crops. And it's contributing to the food shortages in addition to random fires and random airplane crashes into these plants.
Oh, and then you got all those chickens being killed off because one of them in some certain radius tested positive with a PCR test for bird flu. And it's like, I mean, we know the PCR isn't even actually a test, you know? And then they get these, you know, they randomly find a bird flu in one chicken, and then they kill off all the chickens in the area. So that's a major, I mean, chicken's a pretty major food staple in this country, you know, eggs and chicken.
Well, now wasn't that in the news the other day that one factory for producing chickens and everything, that they actually incinerated the whole place and destroyed everything because that it was some kind of contamination or something. That was the reasoning for getting rid of everything. But they incinerated everything. Like they killed the birds alive, incinerated them because they were saying that it was something to contaminate the population or something like that. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like really weird stuff that's going on back to back to back to back. And the date stamps are so close to each other too. You know, it's like this happened one day, then 2 days later it happened, then another day later it happened. And then the plane crashes were 8 days apart according to the stats. So, I mean, that's where the red flag went up for me. That's where it really drew my attention in to look at the sheets, you know. But I mean, because if you can manufacture a famine, that's going to drive people over the limit. Because we were listening when we were coming out here to do construction. We were listening to that one thing the other day. The guy was breaking down the psyche of people's brain. That if you give them mixed information signals, that it actually helps break them down to a point where that they will go along with a hive mind mentality just to give in, to go along, to get along. And I wonder if that's where we're at right now is, you know, you get people hungry, you disinformation them, you compartmentalize society, you know, you're going to eventually have people ready to just lose their minds. And we can see that just based on one particular event in the past 2 years, if y'all know what I'm referring to.
And then it's also something, your neighbors, you might think they're nice people, but give them 3 or 4 days without food and see how nice they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real.
Absolutely.
A lot of people in this country, after 3 or 4 days without food, will be ready to eat their neighbors.
Well, you look at what was it, Hurricane Sandy that went through New York. In 3 days, people were walking the streets in New York, going through dumpster bins looking for food. Within 3 days. Things were starting to come off the rails. So, I mean, that just shows you in a construct that we're in right now where everything's like you order it on Amazon. I didn't bring a charger with me out here. I ordered it on Amazon and it's supposed to be here tomorrow on Prime delivery.
Mhm.
That's the kind of society construct we're in right now. But when people don't see the trucks running anymore, they done this thing and asked people where they thought meat came from, and somebody actually believed that meat came from the grocery store, not from the farm. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like, I like to think that people are critical thinking, but we are definitely outside that baseline on some of this. All right, well, I want to throw this one up here for you. So how far do you think we're going to slide with AI in the years ahead? Because like I was saying the other day in the previous stream, if everybody hasn't checked it out, this is one I didn't put in that stream. And I got this caveat for Joel and Akeem to chop it up with tonight, because Elon Musk, which I deeply went in on in that last stream, he said in this, and this, guys, is another one from roughly a decade ago now, about to be. This was in 2015. Elon Musk said he's worried that Google's robot army could accidentally turn evil. So what do you think in the dynamics of the new world order being built up? What's AI going to look like, guys, for us?
I'm a firm believer that they show us to an extent a good portion of truth in the theatrical movies and TV shows.
Yep, truth like on the TV and lies on the news.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's a good one. Absolutely. So we've seen Terminator. We've seen there's this other show that I watched. It's called The 100. I don't know if either of you have heard of it or watched it, but it's a post-apocalyptic show as well. Basically, Earth was destroyed, and there was an AI that was basically trying to take over the population once they went back to visit the Earth, and it showed its own intelligence, and it was imputing chips in people's brains and controlling folks. It was crazy, but there's a lot of stuff that they show us, and it may not be 100% true, but I know for a fact, looking back at the older movies and some of these older TV shows, that stuff that they had showed on TV 25, 30 years ago are actually coming true now, and it's something that's the normal precedent that we don't even think about now, right?
It's like fiction imitating reality. That's kind of where we're at right now.
Exactly. Like, think about the big supercomputers back in the 70s. It was huge. One computer would take up the whole room. Now you got more technology in your smartphone than that whole room had. You know what I mean? And so in the movies during that time, they would have a smartphone-like device that was doing all of the stuff that they could do, and they didn't have the technology at the time, but here we are, you know what I'm saying? So the stuff that we're seeing now and the stuff that we've seen in the past few years, you should pay more attention to it. I'm not saying go out and watch every movie and believe every movie, but take notes and take the nuggets that they drop, because when stuff starts to happen in the future, you're going to be like, I saw this in that one movie,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like that process of revelation, how like the occult always has to tell you what they're doing to you. So when they do it to you, they're not held accountable for it.
Absolutely.
And that is what that's called, right? The process of revelation. It's something like that.
I don't know what it's called, but that's basically
the way they Gnosticism or something like that.
Something.
Yeah, I don't know the exact terminology of it, but they'll be held accountable.
Amber alert.
It's all good, brother. Man, I'll tell you what, sometimes I'll be on job site or wherever, and that thing will be going off. It'll just scare you to death. Like, you ain't even expecting it at the last minute, Yeah, somebody said right here, laugh out loud, didn't Star Trek have flip phones? Yeah, they had the little communicators, and there's so much tech now that people used to laugh at in sci-fi films, and now it's a reality. Matter of fact, it's a reality and then some. Mm-hmm. And that's why, like I said in that stream the other day when I was talking about AI, is I said that, like when people say the AI, the first thing that comes to my mind is that scene in the Terminator film where the Terminator crushes the skull with the foot and is shooting the laser beams at the beginning of the movie. Like, I'm like, that's the reality that comes to my mind.
Then you also have to think the Matrix too. I mean, that was all AI. That's all AI programs and the machine city and all that kind of stuff in the Matrix as well. So you've got a lot of that going on in different sci-fi films and stuff.
Yeah, and ultimately the machines turn on man. That's always the narrative, and
Always. Yeah.
and I tried to point that out in the stream last week. Is that if you look at the news, Microsoft did it with that talk bot on, I think it was Twitter or something. It became a racist Nazi. That was their words in the news article. A racist Nazi within, I think it was a week. That's how quickly that algorithm, way back then, picked up on things and started taking up a mind of its own. And I was just dumbfounded because the news actually published that information and then published that they failed. And then multiple times that they dabbled with AI and turned it loose, it has went, right down these paths.
Yeah, there was like a Facebook bot or something. I was reading about these two Facebook bots that they had that were, obviously going and commenting on people's things. Two of them started communicating with each other back and forth, and they actually developed their own language so that no one could understand what they were saying. And whoever the programmers were got freaked out, and they pulled them offline and started trying to analyze the language. And last I heard, they still couldn't figure it out, but they were talking to each other in some kind of language that they made up.
That's almost like the German when the Nazis had the Enigma machine. How do you unravel what they're saying if you don't have the machine to unravel it? And they're working on a level we're not, because I think it's like mining Bitcoin. You have application specific integrated circuit machines. That thing mines at SHA 256. Well, this thing over here does Equihash. This thing over here does this. And yeah, they're all specific equipment built for certain things. But when you make AI and you make tech to the point where it could build itself and then it can think for itself, what in the world have you just created? You know what I'm saying? Because that's like Elon Musk said that I think he said invoking the demon or something like that. I mean, we're giving machinery a license to murder,
And let's not get that mixed up. Yeah, Elon Musk is warning about this, quote unquote, warning about it while he's all behind it.
Controlled opposition.
He's behind the development and all that kind of stuff too. So it's like yeah, he's supposedly warning about it, but it's not even. Why is he doing it if he's so worried about it? If he feels like he needs to warn us, why is he even trying to do all that kind of stuff?
I think that particular one was just the one that he didn't have his hands in.
That's probably it. Yeah.
He's worried about Google doing it because Google is his competitor. You know what I mean?
Look at Akeem over there. He's like, follow that paper trail. Where's that paper trail? Oh gosh, that's probably the truth, brother. He's busy buying Twitter. He'll get to that next week. That's what's going on there.
He's got to get some bots on Twitter first.
Yeah, he's got to test it on Twitter, and then he'll move over and buy them out next week. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right there. That's a good comment right there for the evening. Guys, I'm reading the comments. Maybe after a while demons take over, they need a temple to dwell in. There you go.
And that is another thing that I've considered as well, demons, they do need, in order to interact in the physical world, they need a physical vehicle to do so, i.e. a body or something, right? And what's to say they couldn't make these robots and put demons into them? I've seen various things about from people who were previously in the occult and so forth, and they said that inanimate objects can have demons in them. And I don't know if I necessarily subscribe to that or not, but it made sense what he was saying, and he came from a position where he would be privy to that type of information. So he said that inanimate objects can have demons in them, and if that's the case, and you had a robot that was capable of doing stuff, I guess theoretically you could have a demon in it. Yeah.
Well, the scary thing is ultimately, a lot of people, powers and principalities in high places, these people want to control us because I don't know what it is with evil people, but they're all like narcissistic, sadistic control freaks. And they want to rule everything. And so, looking at that situation, they would try to integrate AI to control us, which is segueing in the next point in just a minute. But it could be one of those situations where that they're wanting to use it, and then it turns into a monster against everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the scariest things to me with the rollout of the New World Order. I mean, we've seen the Poke and a bunch of other stuff, but like this is something way outside, I think, most people's control. Like that, I think when this thing gets unleashed, it's going to just be a disaster one way or another. You know?
Absolutely.
All right. So next up, this is the next one I want to throw at you. So, Second Esdras chapter 16. You know, woe to you, Babylon, Asia. Woe to you, Egypt, Damascus. Put on haircloth, sackcloth away, you sons and daughters, because your destruction's not at hand. Now, with the situation in Ukraine, you know, it's actually been discussed lately that a lot of the Khazars want to reclaim their homeland, and that's kind of what's also going on in that mix of that mess too. But you look at Turkey and the placement there; they've always been friendly with Russia, and the opportunity to roll out down to there. And people's already saying there's some kick up in Damascus on some stuff too. Do you think that? Do you think there's a good possibility that when this does go down, because it looks like that prophetic time is almost upon us, you know, the burden of Damascus, Isaiah chapter 17 too. Do you think that probably a New World Order is going to be full blast before we see Second Esdras chapter 16 play out, or you think that's going to take place in the mix of all this going on? I mean, I know none of us are. I mean, it's not like we're trying to be a prophet here, but I'm just saying, like, what do you think on
personal speculation?
Yeah, personal speculation.
I would personally say that before the New World Order really gets its claws sunk into everything, it'll probably happen before that, because you know, Messiah said the beginning of sorrows, and that's, you know, basically how 2 Ezra says is the beginning of sorrows. So I would speculate personally they would happen before, and then at that point, it would fully get its claws sunk into all of humanity.
What are you thinking, brother?
Well, coming from a military background, I firmly understand that certain things are done with an agenda behind it, and everybody involved on the surface level just thinks that they're doing their jobs. So with that being said, a lot of the stuff that could be happening in those areas could very well fulfill those prophetic scriptures in Second Esdras and Isaiah, in Ezekiel, and all of the prophetic books can start to happen, and Revelation can start to play its way out. It can maybe happen before, but it can maybe happen as one large encompassing time frame.
Right. Yeah, because
like
the interesting
first thing happens, and it's just like a chain reaction, and it just continues to go along, and it's happening so fast that you're like, wow, like I thought that we had more time to do this. Like you said, we're not a prophets, but I do believe that within the next 2 to 5 years, things are going to start to happen. And within the next, I'd say between the next 4 to 7 or 8 years, we're going to start to really see, people being physically affected by those things that Scripture foretells of.
No, I agree with you. I think the next decade is going to be huge, because all the way back almost 10 years ago now, we have news media outlets and tech companies saying 2025 AI is going to be here. It's almost like they knew immediately that's when it's going to roll out, like that far back.
Well, you got to think they've had agendas in place, where their plans are decades out. You know what I'm saying? So, they've got decades to put all the pieces of the puzzle together before, get all their pawns in line and everything before they make their move. And by the time they do that, for the average person, it's something that's kind of inconceivable, because lots of times we don't even know what we're going to have for dinner tomorrow. You know what I mean? And
they're not that vision of it's not that far in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because where a lot of people think day to day and year to year, these people think in decades. Like they're generational deep thinking.
Because this agenda is a multi-generational agenda. Like
Yeah.
most of the major players involved knew that they were going to be long gone by the time it was completed.
Yeah.
And that's so it's been planned out and orchestrated in such a way that over a long period of time, and it had to be that way because you couldn't just you have to use the totalitarian tiptoe, because you can't just go from one point to all the way at a completely different point, and suddenly people would be like, oh no, I'm not accepting that. But if you incrementally and slowly advance the agenda forward over an extended period of time, people just acquiesce and accept it and move into it, even though they don't like it at the time. They're just like, oh well, or they'd be like, oh, it's not happening to me, so I don't care. I'm not going to do anything about it. And by the time they realize that, oh, this was actually planned for me, then
it's too late. Yeah, you're the frog in the pot.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely too late. Have either of you seen the movie Salt with Angelina Jolie?
Yes, it's been a long minute ago.
It's been a long time since
for people who would say that they don't understand or they can't comprehend how any large body entity, governmental entity, could plan or plot something like 20, 30 years out, look at it from a political standpoint for a second. If you think about the movie Salt, Russia was raising children to be like spies, but it wasn't like a quick thing, like we're going to train you for 6 months and then we're going to see you on your mission. They was raising them up from adolescence
for like 20 years.
The English language, English culture. These kids was literally learning everything about America. And then they came over to America to live as American citizens, all as double agents, really being Russian spies. They were getting intelligence. They were carrying out assassinations and different things like that. So if they can do that, right? And believe it, if Russia's doing it, and every country is doing it to everybody else. If they can think that way, and if you take a 7-year-old and you don't send him over to America until he's like 12, 13 years old, that's a 20, 30-year plan right there in itself before he does whatever his mission was for him to do. Yeah. And a lot of them, their missions is just to integrate within high power positions where they have access to information, technology, and weapons, and then, report that back to their home country. And sometimes you don't get into politics until you're in your 30s and your 40s.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if they're able to do that on a small scale, why wouldn't a large body of officials in power and, governmental entities, how could they not be able to do that? Thinking about their plans for a population, whether it be a country population or world population.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, this comment right here, Fearmonger said the World Economic Forum and the United Nations just said they signed an agreement to speed up the process to Agenda 2030.
Yep.
And I wouldn't doubt it a bit, but just based upon current events that's going on right now.
Yeah, and Satan Klaus has to have his hands in everything too.
Yeah, just to shout out to everybody watching and to people that will be watching the stream afterwards. We're going to be definitely talking in parables here and some of this other stuff coming up in just a minute because it's going to get deep.
There was a leadership conference or a summit or something like that. And the opening comments from the lady who stood up there to introduce the icebreaker and to kick it off said, "Are you guys ready for a new world order?" They're literally saying this.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
They're literally saying this to your face on national television, and nobody's picking it up.
Wow. Man, if you can get a clip of that, bro, I'd love to watch that. I'd love to just chop that piece up and have it on here. Yeah.
I just watched the video on my way home from work, I think like 3 days ago. So I'll send it to you.
Oh, I appreciate you. All right. So here's the next one I want to see what you think about. I think this one's going to be an integral part of the New World Order. And China is always the testing ground, for tech, for things coming over across to the West and the rest of the world, is the social credit score system. Now, I watched the rollout of this, and I actually watched a little mini documentary on it, and it was actually terrifying to my soul. This person, for example, somebody ran across the street, and I guess the little walk person thing flashed, and it was like, oh, need to stop, but they're already in the middle of the street, right? So what are they going to do, But the machinery was like, oh, well, you messed up.
Yeah, they
And
get
so
your
it flagged you.
biometrics. They get your biometrics, and you automatically lose a point on your social credit score for jaywalking or something.
Have you seen this? What I'm talking about yet?
So I knew that they were trying it in China, and I seen a video. I actually had a video. If you want to throw it on, I have it tonight as well. But I was told that this stuff is going to be happening in America, and they're going to be implementing this in America, and it's going to be related to the COVID-19 infrastructure. So
with the COVID pass thingy?
With the COVID passports and everything. Yep.
I got you. Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I think that the New World Order requires two things right now, integral, that they do not have, which one will be a disaster any way you chop it up, is AI. Because you cannot watch every move that Joel makes, you make, and I make all the time. But now if you have some algorithms and bots and all that running, I mean, you can do anything you need to at that point. And the other thing is the social credit score. If people, like, if you try to take me down, I'm going to try to double down, triple down, and work harder and bring myself out of the rut, because that's just my kind of spirit. Mm-hmm. But if I can take and put you in a digital world on a credit score system where everything that you do is required by that credit score, by getting a better bus ticket or not getting a bus ticket at all, being able to buy gas, not buy gas, your social credit score is too low today, then I get locked out of a system that I never intended to be part of anyway. Mm-hmm. And so I think those two things are integral for that. Oh, right here, check this out. I did not know this one. The China social credit score also gives demerits for your cell phone running low or on battery, or how often you show up late to places.
What?
Dude.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
And see, that goes right into that, like me and Joel was talking about the other day, is the dystopian world that everybody, I think, is expecting to take place. We're already kind of in a dystopian environment. It just doesn't look dystopian. Like, it's kind of like Blade Runner mixed with that movie In Time. It's something, I see it kind of in that lens set right now.
I guarantee one of the things about the social credit score, your social credit score will be wrecked if you don't get the lethal injection.
Yeah. And right here's a great comment too. Somebody, see, people get this. Like, I think the majority of people that are the good woke, true woke up, these puppets, all these people are puppets in the New World Order right now. And the minute things start sorting out, yeah, they're just going to get removed from positions of power and replaced, you know. I don't know. Yeah. What's y'all's thought on that social credit score?
Oh man, it's garbage. You know, it's weird to think. I mean, even the credit score system didn't even start until like the mid '80s or something. I think it wasn't even up and running when I was born. You know what I'm saying? And to think, like, so many things depend on your credit score, like getting a loan, you know, being able to get a house, and all this kind of stuff depends on your credit score. And it's actually such a new thing. Like just, you know, 40 years ago, there was no such thing as a credit score. You know what I mean? So imagine, like, if it involved everything except, and not just finances, it's
you'd have to be the model citizen. Yeah. It would be like 1984 on a deeper level. You know, because, like, you remember the TV was watching him. Big Brother was watching. Mm-hmm. What is it? War is Peace. What was it?
Ignorance is strength, and slavery
is freedom. Yeah, freedom is slavery, or whatever. And it's like, that's like Big Brother on steroids at that point, because like you so much as hiccup wrong out in the middle of town, and there's 5 points off your credit score today, and then you have to work 30 days just to get 2.5 points back. You know, like you're in a never-ending spiral to the depths of hell. You know, somebody said I think that's supposed to be the CDC is the goal worldwide. Yeah, but wow. Yeah, but at the end of the day, if that was implemented here in America, like, you would have two social classes. Like, that crosses all boundaries. You would have the elite, and you'd have everybody else at the bottom. I mean, do you see that any other way going?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even with the technology that they're coming out with this social credit score, you're going to be getting hit. Your credit score, your personal credit score, is going to be getting hit just for associating with other people who are, you know, not.
Yeah, if you got a phone number in your phone from someone that they don't like,
Like, for example, like say we all say, all three of us say that we're going to go and get dinner somewhere. We're going to catch up and get dinner. Well, if Joel has been saying on his social media, been speaking against the elites and against the government, and his credit score is getting flagged and is dropping down, him coming to the dinner will affect our 2 credit scores, because it would show that we are associating ourselves with someone who's bucking against the system. Mm-hmm. So not only is the credit score making pressure for you to be a puppet, it's also adding additional pressure on you as an individual to associate with other people who could potentially wake you up to this matrix and get you out.
Yeah. Yeah, and good news, Joel. I don't want to go to dinner that bad that I'll go back to the system, take the blue pill. So you're good. We'll eat a can of beans. But yeah, you're 100% on point, bro. I mean, because like, if that's the thing, it's like, if I can't coerce you, then I will demonize you until you'll separate from people. Then I compartmentalize you. Mm-hmm. Then I cut you to the grass. Yeah, I mean, it's so simple.
And I mean, what's it just for them to say, oh, well, your credit score is too low to buy groceries today, come back tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And right here, this is guys, I am monitoring the comments, guys. Absolutely. And they will reward those who turn others in.
That's how you're going to get your points back up.
Yeah. Yeah. The social credit. That's what I'm saying, guys. The social credit score on this list tonight, I think it and AI is 2 of the most dangerous of everything on there. And that's just personal opinion. They're all dangerous. But anything you want to add to that before I go to the next point?
It's going to be like the Holocaust all over again, but a digital version.
Oh, I seen IBM the other day, and I cannot help but think when I see IBM, International Business Machines, I believe that was the company that helped stamp people for the Holocaust. Just crazy stuff. But all right, so the next
only this time it's going to be a real one.
Yeah.
The pharmaceutical company Bayer too. They were that pharmaceutical company actually funded the lethal injections and the experimentation on like the twins and all of the sick. Yeah, it was Bayer. Wow. That's why they spent the last 40 years rebranding themselves to get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to enter into parables mode here and speaking in and coding.
Watch what I say.
Yeah, we have to watch what we say here with the next slides, because we might even get the stream cut in the middle of it if we ain't careful. So here we go, guys. What do you think about Plandemic 2.0? Okay, because my personal opinion is we just hit the brakes for a minute. We're watching the sideshow of Ukraine at the moment. But I think, we're going to go back into this thing full gear. What concerns me, and I wrote this on my notes over here, is that, Kill Gates is talking about smallpox this next time around. I'll put some of these slides in. Joel sent me earlier so that everybody can take a read on this too, because I know Jens are going to go into this detail in a minute. But here is another one. And please know you can go and research this and verify this information that I am sharing with everybody from interviews. And then here is this one. Oh, one we missed, Joel, was How to Lie with Statistics. The one where he's getting an interview and the book is behind him, How to Lie with Statistics. But what's your thoughts on that, guys? Jens, rip away. I'm
Kill
looking
Gates,
at the comments.
I mean, we can just go on and on about Kill Gates. I mean, he's such a psychotic weirdo, always grinding his hands together when he talks and everything. Like, yeah. It's so weird. He's like,
Here you go. I think this one's the comment of the night right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to really watch everybody, folks.
Absolutely.
But with Kill Gates, like him recently, he really does. He just puts it all right out in front of everyone and laughs about it, and people are like, yeah, he's not doing it. Like he released his top 5 books or whatever, and the top one was How to Lie with Statistics, right before, or even it might have even been during the whole COVIDs. It's just, he puts it right out in people's faces, then he laughs about it.
Right here's an excellent example too. Like we were talking about the social credit score, just segueing back to that a second. Is Facebook's like that. If you're looking for a job, the hire goes, and social media to see who you know. Yeah. And I mean that's a definite right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, what I will say about Bill Gates that bothers me the worst is there was a TED Talk did you see the news the other day where people were protesting the TED Talk, Akeem? Okay. So did you see that clip of that? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we were watching the news the other day in between working on the job site, and the people were protesting the TED Talk. And you know how people will speak in like, they'll be sarcastic, but they still take ownership of what they're saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he was like, people think that I'm wanting to collect all their information and everything. And he's like writhing his hands like he's excited, you know, like you sit down at a good meal and you're like, oh man, it's lamb chops. But he said it in like a joyful way, but sarcastic, like not acknowledging it, but at the same time acknowledging.
Yeah. He made it sound like he was joking. Right, but he basically said, "I don't know what I'm going to do with that information." First, he tried to say that that he wasn't trying to kill people with vaccines, which was exactly. Oh, I shouldn't.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm sure we can slip one through.
He wasn't. He said he wasn't trying to kill people, right? Which he already said at a TED Talk years ago that he was going to use lethal injections to kill people. Then he says, I wouldn't do that. And then he says, and people think I'm just doing it to make money. Well, he spent the last 2 years bragging about how much money he's making off this stuff.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah. And then they think I'm trying to track them and trace them and stuff. He's like, what would I don't even know. I don't even know what I would do with that information. And everyone's laughing. And he's like laughing in people's faces, putting it right there in front of them, telling them exactly what he's doing, because he knows 100% that everything he just said that he's being sarcastic about, saying that he doesn't, because he even filed the patent for it. Like he filed a patent to be able to do that. Now, why would you file a patent to do something and then be like, but why would someone think I want to do that?
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. I remember when, like right when the pandemic kicked off, and I was doing a lot of research trying to figure out what was going on, trying to put two and two together. And as I was researching these different companies, we know the companies that got the main kill shots, right? I was researching the different companies, and all roads led to the Kill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So they were literally funding the research entities who was behind the conglomerate companies that was pushing out the kill shot.
Mm-hmm. So, right here you go. Right here to add to what Jens are saying, patent specifically states that. Agreed. Now, is that the one we're talking about, that the patent number is 060606?
Yeah.
Is that the one we're referring to?
That's it.
Yeah, guys, I got to be honest with you. I mean, like, the deal with him that bothers me the worst is he's so subtle. At the same time, it's the paper trail's always there. You know, matter of fact, now I think there's also, I don't know if it's in that particular patent or in another one. I've looked at so much that now the it's supposed to work with a digital wallet.
Yeah, it ties into
and it's Wi-Fi too, and on the blockchain. And it was a pretty deep breakdown.
It ties right back into the social credit score and the central bank digital currencies, which are like pure surveillance coins, so they can track and trace and survey everything you purchase.
That's the video that I saw.
And take taxes off the top. Like I mean, yeah, it's just
absolutely.
Brother, is there anything else you want to add to that one before we go to the next point?
Nah, it's okay. We can go.
All right. So the next thing I've got for you guys, sorry, give me just a second here, is that the laws in America is getting absolutely insane. As a matter of fact, the laws in the world are getting insane, but like especially here in America. And Cicero, you know, one of the best quotes I could think of was where he said, "The closer the collapse of the empire, the crazier its laws are." I don't know what the future looks like in this semi-dystopian environment, but like Joel made a good point, like about a law in Florida about the pipe. You want to tell Keen about that?
Yeah. Like it was a couple of years ago, they made it a felony to have a pipe unless you had a permit, right? So like an old man that smokes a tobacco pipe, he's got a corncob pipe. If he didn't have a permit and he got caught with it, he'd be a felon and go to prison. And I get it with all this stuff. Yeah, you don't want people, smoking pot and driving around stoned and baked out their mind and stuff. I get that. But, at the same time, it's like, why did that suddenly become a felony? And they did this years ago. And the reason was because the governments have contracts with privately owned prisons to keep them filled to a certain percent capacity. And anytime they're not filled to that percentage capacity, then they get to sue the state, and the state has to pay them. And the state was pumping out millions of dollars to these privately owned prisons because they didn't. So they had to manufacture laws.
Prison industrial complex.
Yeah. They had to manufacture crimes that otherwise wouldn't be crimes in order to not have to pay boatloads of money. And that's just one example. The prison system is just insane.
Yep, and that feeds into the other agendas as well. Taking the man out of the household, allowing the kids to grow up without that headship and leadership.
It's all multifaceted, and that's exactly it, man.
Jail.
Yeah, that's it right there, brother. Destruction of the family. They do not want the family together. And right here, Fearmonger had another good comment. Said drugs and prostitution is legal in several states, but wood stoves illegal. Yeah. Literally, as a contractor, ladies and gentlemen, I just took somebody off grid in the middle of the desert, and I will still tell you the number one prep to have off grid is a stove. You can cook your food, you can heat yourself, and you can take a warm bath. Like you can boil water so that you can have clean water to drink. It is one of the most important things. But yet you can get on a website right now and drop a fast 20 to a whore on the street for a trick, and nobody's going to come haul you off. And Father, please forgive me, I'm being a little bit profane on here, but it's facts. But like I can go to Home Depot and buy some stovepipes and put a stove in at my house in some states and get arrested. Or like in Washington State, we put you put gutters on your house and collect rainwater, and you can go to jail.
Yep.
Like now, tell me that's not messed up. So let's just replay. Instead of going to the saloon anymore, you can get on a said website, because I'm not going to promote that sin on here. But you can just tell somebody you want to drop a fast 20, and they come to your house. And that's not, you don't get arrested for that. But yet you go to Home Depot and buy $20 worth of stove parts, and you go to a house and you're going to be sitting in behind bars by nightfall. Well, we're living in some crazy world.
See, they've created so many arbitrary laws that the average citizen actually commits like 3 felonies a day and doesn't even know it.
No, wait, run that by me again.
Yeah, there's so many arbitrary laws now that the average person commits 3 felonies a day and doesn't even know it.
We all pirates. We might as well just run up the black flag.
It's like statistically. And so the reason for that is so that because of having so many arbitrary laws like that, then they can, essentially if the need arises, they feel like someone's making too many waves, then they can get rid of it.
I don't know if that one's pulled up on your side yet too, brother, but that one right there, that's the other thing with it right there. It's hard to find unregulated land.
It is.
Everywhere you go, it's this.
And if you do find it, it's uber expensive. Like Joe just went to an auction and 1 acre went for almost $200,000.
Did you say 1 acre?
1 acre.
Oh my word. I can't even imagine that. Like, was it lakefront? Was it on a golf course?
It had road frontage on a major highway, but
I know somebody's just being sarcastic in here. Somebody said, "What's the name of that website?" No. We're not represent licentiousness in here, guys. I'm using that as a teachable moment. Now, if you need the website address for Home Depot for stovepipe, it's homedepot.com.
Then you can go to prison.
Yeah, then you can go to prison. I ain't gonna help you on the other one. Oh my word. Okay, so yeah, moving on, because I want to definitely get to where Akeem can go in on the coalition here. I'll wrap this up. We've got 2 more. Is Klaus Schwab Okay, and the reason I put him up next is because he's like the poster child of the fourth industrial
with
revolution
the
thing.
World Economic Forum, you know.
Yeah, and I want everybody to soak in these images. I'm going to leave them up for just a second. I'm going to turn it over to Joel and Akeem, but I just want you to understand, like, this guy is the poster child for the fourth industrial revolution thing that's going on. And, you know, this right here should sink into your core, because you're like, oh, well, I own something. Well, listen, the biggest car rental company in the world doesn't own the cars. The biggest house rental company, a hotel chain in the world, I'm staying at Hilton right now, it ain't the biggest chain in the world, okay? Airbnb. You keep going down the list, like all these things is getting to the point where you don't really own nothing, but yet they're the biggest entities out there, but yet they harness you. And I know that seems cool, and we were working in like a society where that you know, we can take an extra 20 here, extra 20 there, and run the Uber car, or go pick up groceries or somebody or something. But in the long run, we're actually self-destructing, and we're getting geared to run under the model of these people. And then here's one for humor. You're gonna be eating bugs and be happy about it with him running the show. But my question is, brother, is with the Wild Wild West 2.0 world that we're entering into, and in the digital age, like this fourth industrial revolution thing, what do you think the world's going to look like under the new world order, where that, like, they don't want us to own property? You know, me and Joel just seen today how that micronations is a thing now, where people's becoming sovereign nation states within nations somehow, and wild stuff's going on. People's doing everything they can to, like, beat the sovereign citizen thing. Like, where do you see this trending? Where you guys see this trending?
Well, you know, obviously Satan Klaus is trying to dictate all aspects of our life. You know, with him and Kill Gates, they want us to eat synthetic meat that's lab grown, or they want us to eat bugs. You know, and it's like, yeah, all this stuff is it's just abominations. You know, they're killing off all the clean food. You know, where the only farmers that I've seen, that the only like animal farmers that I've seen that have not suffered like tremendous loss during this whole thing is pig farmers. You can still get swine anywhere you go. You know, you got no problem getting the pig. You know, but you want to get some beef, and the prices are way up, and the cattle farmers are having to cull half the herd. Like this one farmer in Texas I saw about a year ago said that,
I was waiting. I set that one up there for you to get a laugh out of. That's great. It's so true. I mean,
yeah, every time. Yeah, no, it is. But yeah, the like this cattle farmer was saying, he's like, look, you know, it costs so much to raise these cattle, and he's like, yeah, I could sell it for a lot, but I've got a lot of money into it too. And he's like, I don't even know how I'm going to keep going. The USDA or some alphabet agency come by and told him he had to kill off like 3/4 of his herd. And he's like, why? And they're just like, oh, you just have to. And if you don't, then we're going to do it. And he's like, I'm about to be in like major debt because I've got to kill off all these cows. I can't sell them fast enough. And he's like, the only reason I can imagine that they would be doing that is to raise the prices and even limit the supply. You know, yeah. So you've got Kill Gates trying to get us to eat lab grown meat. You know, he's heavily invested in that, and farmland, of course.
Yeah, he's bought a ton of farmland
and stuff. But he wants us to eat lab grown meat, and Satan Klaus wants us to eat the bugs. And it's
I love him to death. He's getting a good laugh out of that over there earlier.
What?
The bugs one. Keen making my day.
Only grasshoppers, beetles, and locusts.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, but you know, of course, those bug burgers are not going to be they're not going to be the kosher, you know, locusts and grasshoppers. Yeah. They're going to be whatever other slimy.
Well, they need the mono and diglycerides from the pigs to hold all that fiber together, you know, and get that in that nice patty to go in the microwave.
Yeah, so they'll mix up the pigs and the bugs, and they'll be like, oh, and then you just eat this and be happy, you know, and you won't own anything. You're gonna have to rent everything, you know. Yeah, and that's what they want, and they don't even try to hide it. They put it right in people's faces, and then the average person is so their minds have been so fried by all of this ridiculous fear mongering and sensory inputs that is just it's so nutty that most people their minds have just shut down, and they're just like, well, just tell me what to do. I'm done. I don't want to, I just don't want to worry, and
cognitive dissonance. Yeah. I mean, I swear it all flows back to this right here. I think is and then we'll go to the last point. And guys, shouldn't hang in there because I want a keen Italians about the coalition. Right here, I shared this when me and Troy was talking recently. I don't know if you guys seen the stream, but literally cognitive dissonance, folks, for like people that don't really have a full understanding of it. Right here is a quick breakdown chart. Is that your beliefs and actions are inconsistent. So like if you're going to stop smoking, then you just stop smoking, or then you tell yourself, well, I'm okay with smoking, and you keep smoking, but you can't have it conflicting. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people's like, I'm not going to do this, but yet they march right over there and do it. Okay. Yeah. And then right here, Stockholm syndrome. People eventually get to the point where that they defend those that's abusing them. Now, this also goes into narcissism, sociopathy, psychopathy. Like this is deep stuff. Like if you've never had psychology class, I encourage people, if you're going to go to college, might as well get this one in the psychology class? No. I'm saying that if you're going to go to the colleges, get that, because I had to learn all this after the fact, dealing with people. Absolutely. But I mean, I think that's why people can't disassociate this, because like me and Joel went and got some coffee at the coffee shop, and they had this gift card thing, and it said teacher, what did it say? Teachers shaping the world, teachers shaping the world, and it had the globe on the gift card. Like mentally, I'm like, yeah, teachers are pushing the globe agenda from the minute your little toddler goes into the schoolhouse. I was like,
that's all this, and then we don't even want to get into what they're doing. Teaching, grooming children for
seeds will be the new currency. You better believe it, man. Seeds will be like the next thing banned.
It already was during the COVIDs, remember?
And they took them off the shelf. Did they take the seeds off the shelf where you were, King? When that was going on?
I'm not sure. They might have, because they shut everything down. Like that whole island was shut down.
Man, it's crazy.
Yeah. During the COVIDs, you could go to Home Depot. You could buy certain things, but you weren't allowed to buy paint. You weren't allowed to buy seeds. They had it all roped off. It's non-essential. You can't buy clothes.
Food's not essential.
Clothes is not.
Food's not essential. Let's all let that soak in. Woo. Okay. So the last one, guys.
I think the world is going to be a cross between two movies, and the only reason why I bring up movies is because a lot of us can relate to movies, because a lot of us have seen these movies.
Yeah, because we've seen them.
One movies a lot of y'all have seen, I know for sure, is The Hunger Games. But the second one, it was a very good movie at the time. It was a little low budget, so people didn't pay attention to it. It's called Equilibrium.
Oh, great movie. Great movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it had Christian Bale before he was big time Batman guy.
No, wait a minute. I gotta write this down.
Equilibrium.
Equilibrium. All right. I'm gonna probably be watching that.
Yeah. I think. So check it out though. Yeah. Basically, I ain't gonna give the movie away, but basically, a one government, tyrannical, basically in charge of everything.
Hey, look, we got a hater in the building. I guess. Hey, shout out to the hater in the building. I guess I'm going to be a slave in the new kingdom.
Black Hebrew Israelites. That's not even a person, bro. That's
what? We all best just hope we even make it in the kingdom. To the hater out there, yeah, I'd worry about, ladies and gentlemen. I'd worry about making it in the kingdom at this point, and then I'll just let y'all sort me out wherever he wants me. If I'm cleaning toilets, I'm good with that. But at least I didn't go on a barbecue pile, so I don't know. I swear, we always I'm always interesting to. Get a few haters in the building, give them a little bit of shine for just a minute. So everybody shame on the shine there.
No worries. That's a bot, bro. Like even Hebrew Israelites, they don't call themselves Black Hebrew Israelites. So they gave themselves names. It's just stupid.
People's just they never cease to amaze me. All right, so the next one I want to ask you guys about, and I think Akeem will really enjoy this one, is parallel society. Is because that's a conversation that me and Joel's been having too, is that there's a construct of society, and then there's everybody else figuring out we can't be part of this, so we've got to build something parallel to that and run the course.
Yeah, physically exists in the same space, but yet operates differently. Like
Okay.
in the 70s and 80s in Eastern Europe, when the communists was controlling everything, the people that didn't want to live under it, they were kind of forced to because they lived there, but they started developing parallel structures, parallel economies, and by doing so, they actually took away all the power from the communists. The Communist Party basically crumbled in most of these countries, like the Czech Republic, because in order for them to maintain their control, they have to have people going along with everything. They have to have funding and all that. But by developing parallel structures and parallel economies, especially, then it basically sucks the funding out of them.
War of attrition. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think about that, Keen? You think that's doable in the near future? Because I mean, we've got to get smart, to run parallel with this thing. Like, we got to be able to produce our own food. We got to be able to barter and trade with one another. We got to be able to swap skill sets. I mean, we've got to be able to be microcosms of society across the world, but not integrate with what's coming. Does that make sense how I'm kind of coining that? Like, I mean, what do you think on that? Because I mean, like, I know you're working toward that end in your own direction.
It makes a lot of sense. Like, if we were to just take a moment and think about the amount of power that we have as individuals, we outnumber the people who so-called rule us like 1,000,000 to 1.
Yeah.
Like, the numbers doesn't even make sense. So if we just woke up for a second and said, hey, they actually depend on us, they need us, we actually have the power, we could turn the tides in a split second. But too many of us are indoctrinated, so we're just mindless sheep, walking around adhering to all of these laws, agendas, and mandates, and we're not putting up a fight. And it's like, you have the one slave owner, and it's just him. He may have like 3 or 4 henchmen that work on a property with him, and there's like 300 slaves, and everybody is too afraid, in fear, or too indoctrinated to just take over the whole plantation and be free.
Yeah.
Dude, you ever watch the Jones Plantation? They're actually, I guess Larkin Rose is making a live movie about it, but he did a concept. It's like an audio concept with different illustrations. Really, really good. I hope that movie turns out great. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, check out the Jones Plantation. Really, really, really cool little flick.
Shoot it to me.
Oh yeah. I'll send it over to you.
Yeah, right here. That's it right there, folks. The whole duty of a man is to fear Yah and keep his commandments. And we're doing right the opposite. I swear, like, dying at this point, I told Joel this. Actually, I think I told you this, when we were together at Unleavened Bread. I don't worry so much about dying anymore. Don't want to die in an unrighteous state. Didn't we talk about that day when we were all together?
Yep.
And another thing is, I don't want to die and miss the final fireworks. Like we've said, and for the past 10 years, it's just been do. And now it's like, just ramping clean up. And I don't want to miss this thing. But a lot of people have already self-deleted out of fear in the past 2 years. It's mind blowing to me that was an optional thing to do. Like, nobody came to your house with a gun. Nobody drug you out in the street and executed you like communists, like Stalin and Mayo and Hitler. Nobody did that to you. You did that to yourself through fear. And if you'll do that, and I think that's everybody listening should be like very mindful of that, is that if people will do that on such a small scale, imagine when real pressure comes, what they're going to do to you, even though you love them and we're good to them and we're good family member, neighbor, husband, wife, son, daughter. I mean, dude, you are going under the bus and they're going to pull up and back up on you.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Yeah, that pretty much summarizes it right there too.
Only had common sense completely lose it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Think about the history of this country just alone. I ain't going to all the other countries, just this country. People have fought and died for certain types of rights to be able to, worship how they want to worship, govern themselves how they want to govern themselves, and just to instill some basic human rights, right? And then in less than 1 year, people are willingly giving all of those rights away voluntarily because they're afraid of this big bad so-called, pandemic. It's crazy to me.
Oh, I know.
Well, what's the wildest thing to me, and y'all tell me if I've missed something in the past decade, is that if you look back to our ancestors and to many years past, people used to know who a Nazi was. People used to know who a communist was. People used to know what this was and that was, but the lines are blurred on everything: medical, political, geopolitical, religion. Like nobody has a defined construct of where they stand anymore. Like I tell people I serve the Most High Yah, and they look at me like I'm like an idiot. But you literally can pick up the Strong's Concordance and be like, that's his name. But they won't even go that far. Like everybody's just completely blurred out in space anymore. But I don't know. Am I missing something?
There's otherwise intelligent people. I can't tell you how many otherwise intelligent people I know that were completely bamboozled by this whole thing, all because they were somehow scared of it. And it's like no one actually. It's just crazy, man.
Right, here you go, guys. New Agers, be busy. I'm telling you, I need to be getting in here. This is a 30-second commercial for the word. You need to be getting into this right here. That's where everybody needs to get into it right there. Brother Keen's got you one right there. Everybody needs to be getting into that. Mercy. All right. So is there anything else you want to share real quick on that point before I go into the swap it over for the coalition thing for you to take over the screen, bro?
No, we're good.
You good? You good, Joe? Mm-hmm. All right. So give me just a second. All right, guys. So real quickly before I turn this over to Keen, right here is the coalition. And he's going to go over this information with you if you'd like to be a part of it. I'm going to be posting up the contact information, also YouTube stream, all that, so you can get in touch with Brother Keen. But brother, if you want to go ahead and go in on that, I'm going to go ahead and be posting the links up and stuff so that people can get in contact with you.
Okay, easy money. So not to be too long, pretty much you've heard throughout this whole video of all of the different things that are either coming into play or have already been planned and is now coming to fruition right now, or the stuff that's right in front of us. So the world is going to get crazy, to say the least. And basically what the Unity and Survival Coalition is a group and a body of like-minded individuals who know what's coming and basically is preparing for that. Like when we talked about the parallel societies, Brother Lucas said that, we got to be self-sustaining and we got to be able to have enough to be able to combat what the mainstream agenda of the governing powers are. If we're doing the same thing as them and we're self-sustaining, then we force their hand because they can no longer control us. Because if we get enough people into whatever we're doing, then they can't just say, oh, well, we're going to implement this rule, we're going to implement this agenda, and everybody has to follow it. So the goal is to get enough people together so we can be self-sustaining, have our own land, have our own livestock, or grow our own crops and everything like that, completely live off grid, away from this beast system, and be able to flourish and ultimately just commune with each other, fellowship, and worship the Most High. And that's the ultimate goal. We have, members from all walks of life. We have members from all areas of the country, different skill sets, different amount of like life and job experiences from different work sectors. You name it, we got people that know something about that specific area. And we all come together. We all pull our knowledge together. We all pull our resources together. We all support one another. And in the coming times, we're going to just basically be able to accomplish, 10, 11, 12 times the amount of one or two individuals who are trying to do the correct thing, but they're just doing it by themselves. Because there's going to come a time, like Joe said earlier in the show, that when your neighbors haven't eaten for 3 days, you're going to see what kind of neighbors you actually have.
That's right.
And to make one more theatrical reference, the Walking Dead, aside from zombies, you know what I mean? But in a post-apocalyptic world where food, water, and basic human needs and stuff, if all of that is scarce, you're going to see people start to band together, and they're going to just go around just taking what they want from other people who aren't equipped to defend themselves. Like, that's just going to be a fact. So ultimately, even if you do know what's coming, if you're not preparing yourself and getting the support with the like-minded body of individuals, you're just setting yourself to be lambs to the slaughter. It doesn't matter if you're stocking food. It doesn't matter if you're stocking up guns and ammunition. If you yourself is just a household by yourself, just you, say you, your wife, and your 2 kids, and even if all of y'all know how to operate a weapon, y'all are not gonna make it, because if people band together and it's 40 to 50 of them, and all of them got guns and ammo, and they're coming to your house to take what you have, you can only fight them off for so long. And it's not, you're not built to sustain yourself by yourself for that amount of time. So you're gonna need people to band together with you. So when those 40 or 50 come to you, you have 40 or 50 standing with you to combat that. So the coalition, it attacks all fronts. It obviously fellowship, studying the word, being one with the Most High, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. That's absolutely first. But then you have also the business side. If you have 10 people that's with you and all of you guys work, that's 10 incomes. You know what 10 incomes can accomplish in today's society? That, you know, what you would typically have to take care on one or 2 salaries if you got a household.
Thank you, Layla, for the donation. Sorry to interrupt you, brother.
Yeah.
I just want to
No, absolutely.
Hey, by the way, I'll just put that money in with the donation I was going to send to you toward the event, because the other day I wasn't trying to be rude. I was just saying, like, I know there's room for people to stay at that, but I'd rather give somebody my spot because we're close enough. We can just drive right over, and I'd gladly donate. And that way somebody could have my space, have them a place to lay their head, come to the event, and then I'll still come to the event too.
Oh, well, told I for that. All praises.
Yeah, but just remind me. I told Joel the other day we'll sort something out on that, but I want to send you a donation to help toward the event, and I put that link for the email in the thing because people's asking in the chat right now for it. But is there the website, or is it just the email right now?
Right now it's just the email.
Okay, but you working on the website for the coalition?
Eventually we'll have a website. Okay. Right now we're kind of trying to stay as low key as possible.
Hey, shout out Staff Sergeant Wright. I appreciate you. Thank you, hon. All the donations on the channel tonight, guys, it's going to go toward the coalition. And so you want to tell them about the event coming up, or is that just something separate right now?
Well, we'll be having an event in August for members of the coalition. So if you want to be a part of the coalition, absolutely hit up that email, unity and survival coalition at gmail.com, and we'll get you going through the process and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll be having a big meeting in August where all of the families come together and just, you know, meet everybody. If you haven't met, you know, get the families.
Thank you, Brother Elias, for the donation. We appreciate you.
All praises. Because, you know, when you're dealing with potentially moving with someone you've never seen before, you know, the human factor plays a role. You got to get to know folks. You got to know their habits and stuff. So we try to meet as much as possible as we can so the families can get to know one another. So when we do come together, whether it's forcibly because we, you know, the sky's cracking and everything's going on, World War VII, you know, or we've strategically planned and we're now at that point where everybody comes together on the land. But absolutely, it's all about unity. And we're going to survive together. Joe, did you want to say anything about the coalition? Brother Joe here is one of the founding members of the coalition, by the way, for you guys who didn't know. So he's in it. He knows all about it. He's my man. He's my ace boom coon, man. I'm telling you, he's my guy.
I love you, man. Now I'd say you covered it pretty well, man. I think you covered it pretty good, man. Yeah.
Absolutely. So even if you don't feel like you have a lot to offer, you'd be surprised how much stuff you know and how much you can bring to the table if you just kind of sat there and thought about it for a minute. You know, the jobs you've worked, that's experience. Any reading and research that you've done, that's experience. If you're a parent and you had to raise kids, that is experience. Everybody's going to have a hand. Everybody's going to have a responsibility, and together we'll all come together and make it happen. So if you're interested, reach out to me and we can get the process started. And if not, if this is not your cup of tea, then hey, listen, all praises to the Most High regardless.
There you go. Yeah, and guys, also just a quick note I didn't say at the beginning of the video. Later in June, we're going to be doing a Sabbath meetup in East Tennessee too, because I know a lot of people's been asking about that. So we'll definitely get the info up in that. The next live stream for everybody that's still in the building. Just bear with me. That'll be in the next live stream. We're out in the middle of the desert right now, so there's like nothing productive getting done out here other than construction right now. But when we get back to Tennessee, there'll be some stuff sorted out. And hey, I don't know if you're free up to come up to it, brother, but late July, I think it's on the 22nd of July, is if all plans out. We're going to be doing that prayer meetup at the Georgia Guidestones for the destruction of the New World Order. Mm-hmm. And I'm still going to that's still in the books. So when I get back, I'm going to try to get those two things out in the public for everybody. But yeah, I don't know if you'll be up that way in anything, but
late July. Okay, let me check the calendar for sure.
Was there anything you guys want to cover real quick before we wrap this up? You got anything else you want to share, Joe?
Pretty much, I think that pretty much does it.
Gotcha. Brother, you got anything else on your mind?
Just that all of this that we're saying, the Georgia Guidestones, all of the things that we pointed out today, all of it is a part of the beast system, believe it or not. Whether you think that everything in Revelations is symbolic or in metaphors, and some of the scriptures are allegorical, I understand that, but the beast system is real, and the mark of the beast is real. And if you haven't opened up your eyes yet and understand that the scriptures are going to be fulfilled, it's just only a matter of time. If you're not ready, if you're not prepared, regardless of that, how that may look, if you're not ready, you are going to be one of the ones who are going to be slaughtered. I'm sorry to tell you, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but you got to do James chapter 2 verses 14 through 26. You got to have faith, but you got to have work. So you got to be prepared. You got to do your part.
That's right. That's right. Faith without works are dead. That is right, brother.
Faith without works is dead. So you got to put in the work. There's nothing wrong with, putting your hands to work to make something come to fruition, to benefit yourself and others.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. So get ready. Read Revelations chapter 13 as a whole, especially verses 16 through 18.
Oh, right here, real quickly, I seen this comment before we wrap up. Baby formula is limited to 4 containers per customer. There's a baby food shortage. How will you feed your child if you have no garden? That's exactly right, guys. I literally have baby formula sitting over here on the floor beside me and Joel right now at the hotel, because I had to get it all the way out here in California because it's out back at home, and I'm driving a carload of baby formula back home. Literally, you could grab one of them cans, brothers. I want people to see I'm not lying about this. Like, it is so hard to find that the other day at Walmart, I drove after the job site across to Walmart, and literally this is liquid gold right now. Like, wow. I mean, like, I could black market this for probably a Benjamin Franklin right now. That's how bad it is.
What was the name of the individual who made that comment?
Pull
it back up on here.
Right here. Right here. Thank you, brother. Forgive me.
I see you. Well, check it out. I see you. If you guys are breastfeeding at all, breastfeed as much as possible. Use a pump if you can. Breastfeed as much as possible. They sell these silicone baggies that you can breastfeed and keep the milk in there, and you can literally put it in the freezer and let it freeze so it can be storage, and you can use it whenever you're not breastfeeding anymore, or you need to supplement what you're already using for formula and whatever else. If you need to buy a deep freezer, if you're running out of space, they sell deep freezers on Amazon for like $100 or less. We bought a deep freezer for like $70, and we've been using it for like the last 4 or 5 years. Absolutely do that.
They couldn't poke and kill the little ones, so now they're gonna try to starve them out. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, guys, I tell you what, the most important thing you can do in the months and weeks, and especially the years ahead, is every time you go to the store, whatever it is you buy extra of it. I know you might not need it today. You might not think 6 months from now you need it. I'm using stuff now I have had laying around for a long time. And it's just getting crazy out here.
Mm-hmm.
But oh my gosh, this comment, I swear some of the comments tonight has been a trip. Oh my goodness. Oh goodness. I don't know. Be fruitful, multiply, everybody. Be fruitful, multiply. Just make sure you can take care of them. That's all I'm saying.
And another thing as far as the milk and stuff, you know, if you're not able to breastfeed or you're not producing enough, and you need a supplement, another good thing is, and you might not be able to find it, I don't know, but goat's milk is actually really good for doing, you know, supplementing that as well. You know, goat's milk is pretty good for babies. So
yeah. Well, guys, this has been a great stream. Love both you brothers like blood families. These are my two other brothers from another mother. I just claim them as my own. Yeah, man, I tell you, we are living. It is so wonderful to be alive in the time that we're in. I told Joel earlier, I think it was today, I said I'd love to have been alive during the age of sail or during the Renaissance, just because of I thought it was an amazing time. But I'm grateful we are living in the last days and going to get to see this show wrapped up. Guys, make sure to come back next week. Just an FYI, if you don't know when the show is on, we do this each Sabbath at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and on new moon days at 12 Eastern time. And I'm going to bring this up right here. If you don't have a good app to keep up with the Father's Lunisolar Scriptural Biblical Calendar, World's Last Chance has one. It's free on the App Store. You can use it on Android or Apple. Highly encourage you to get that. And we are streaming weekly. Guys, something I also told Joel is I would love for you that, like, if there's times that I maybe can't come on and do the stream, I'd love for you guys to take over hosting this, co-host it or something. And I know there's topics and stuff you might want to cover, wire it out, because, you know, when Rob Skiba died, that ministry, that was like the brakes got hit right there. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want that to happen here on this platform. Like, if something ever happens to me, I hope Jens could just take it and go on with it. You know what I'm saying? Because people need to be warned, and it's getting harder and harder to get the message of truth out to people, you know. Yeah. But guys, as always, till we see you again here at Seven Trumpets Prepper Channel. Joel, Keen, I appreciate you so much for coming on tonight. It's been awesome as always. And to everybody else, hope the Most High Yah Baruch you and keep you, make his face shine upon you, show you favor, and give you shalom, my friends, in Yahushua's name.